So, Mark, did you see that video of the house in China that's now completely surrounded by a highway on all sides? There's a term for this. It's called nail houses, and they're all over the place when people refuse to sell. They just build right around them. But this is probably the most extreme example I've seen. The only way the owner can get there is via a pipe.
I think he was playing the long game here. Now it's a tourist attraction, charge to see, put it up on Airbnb. You know, people will rent it just to say they stayed in between two highways and had to walk through a tunnel. Just get the influencers out there, Sean, and you'll make the money.
Can you imagine the noise, though? They talk about the construction noise, but once the highway's going and the highway's basically at the roof level, I mean, it's got to be insane.
Just imagine it's like waves crashing on the shore, and there you go.
So Southwest has been in the news so much the last year as they are really upending their entire business model, adding red-eye flights, upgrading their software, seating assignments, and they're expanding their partnership. Iceland Air now is going to be a partner, meaning that you can book itineraries that include Southwest and Iceland. That'll get you to Europe or Iceland, which is super cool. And they are starting with Baltimore, Nashville, and Denver. And Baltimore was the first market, and Nashville and Denver coming. And this is good. I mean, this is Southwest turning into a proper airline with partners and international itineraries that are beyond just their own metal.
Yeah, I think this is the best move that they've made so far with all these changes, and it gives them opportunity, to expand. Couldn't use your Rapid Rewards to go anywhere besides like the Caribbean stuff. You couldn't even go to Canada because they can't figure out how to charge in Canadian dollars, and they still haven't figured that out. But, this gives you an opportunity to go to Europe. We saw JetBlue expand on their own, where they fly to Europe. Southwest is the biggest domestic airline in terms of flights within the U.S. So it was a glaring hole in their program that you couldn't really go much anywhere outside the U.S. for the most part. This opens it up without them having to expand their routes. They don't have the planes to do it really. So this gives them that opportunity. I think it's a great move. And then Iceland Air, they're kind of like the Virgin of points transfers. They got their hand out. Anybody that wants to be a partner with them, they're willing.
Yeah, and I think in the past, Southwest did partner with WestJet and one of the budget carriers in Mexico, but that wasn't a full integration and it wasn't sort of the same thing. And this is them becoming a proper airline. I wonder if we ever see maybe 5-10 years in the future, them joining a full alliance, like One World, Star Alliance, something like that. That would be interesting. And maybe that's potentially in their future. So we'll see.
Yeah, I know they said they want to, have one more partnership hit in 2025. So be curious to see who they do that with and what it opens up. And I'm just, it just adds value to the program, adds values for the cardholders and anybody that has their points. So it's cool to see.
One thing that hasn't changed a lot in aviation in the jet era is the speed that we fly. We fly about 550 miles an hour when we're in the air, give or take some, but that's about what planes go. It's more about the economics of fuel burn. Obviously, we've had things like the Concorde before, and you can go faster than that. But they don't. But a recent flight from Vegas to London almost broke the jetstream record. It got up to 814 miles an hour. Apparently the record is 835. So that's just the wind sort of carrying it there. And super cool. I wonder if you really feel that when you're on board. You probably don't, but it's a cool little fact.
The wings start to like shake a bit and like nuts come undone. And I know it's not turbulence, so you probably don't notice, but I wonder how much time it shaved off. They didn't really say that. I'm sure somebody's figured it out, but how cool would it be if you like get there 2 hours early and you're like, what the heck happened?
Then they make you sit on the tarmac because there's no gate for you. I've had that happen where you land like 40 minutes early and you still sit there and you end up geting off the plane on time.
Which is worse.
Yeah. Super cool. And of course it's Vegas. So, Vegas gets all the records, the best ever. I'm just going to defend Vegas like you do Detroit. So moving on to some credit card news, there are some new offers for Marriott cards, starting with the Boundless. This is an interesting one with a statement credit, $150 statement credit after your first purchase in 12 months. And then you can earn 100,000 Bonvoy points with a total of 3,000 in purchases in the first 3 months. This has a $95 annual fee. Sounds really good, Mark, but tell us why it's not that good.
Yeah, I mean, the standard offered has been 3 free night certs up to $50K, for spending the same $3,000. And that's probably a bit better. I know we say free night certs aren't all they cracked up to be, hard to maximize. With the top off with Marriott, where you can add $15K in points on top of it, they're a little bit easier, and their hotels just seem to be priced upwards of that for moderate hotels. So I think, 3 isn't the most difficult to use. I think that comes out a little bit better. And this is like a limited time offer. Usually it's a lot better. And I think this one's actually less value wise. Maybe people prefer the points. Normally their limited time offer is 5 free night certs for around the same spend. So this is a big step down from that for sure. And I actually think the no fee card is the better option right now.
Yeah, you make a great point. Instead of comparing it to the offer before, compare it to what their better offers have been when they're in this window. And this is certainly a downgrade. The $150 credit seems like it's trying to offset the annual fee a little bit. Like you said, probably the certs are better. Probably better to see if you can get that 5-night version if it ever comes back. We don't know if that will, but the no annual fee card, like you said, 60,000 points plus a free night certificate. After spending 2,000 in the first 3 months, that free night certificate is good for up to 50,000 points. You can top it off like Mark said. There's no annual fee on this card, and this is significantly better than the normal offer.
Yeah, the normal offer I think is around 30K, so it's a not even consideration type card. These are both 524 cards. You got to be under 524, and they will add to your count because it's personal cards. But if you're, you've got your Aeroplan, you've got your Hyatt, you got your IG, you got your Sapphire Preferred Reserve, and you're looking for like that last personal card before you go over, I think the no fee card definitely is something to consider.
Let's talk about another no annual fee card that we both like, the Blue Business Plus from American Express. They have a new link that we can provide for you, and they're targeting people with an offer anywhere from 50 to 75K welcome offer. What's really nice about this is it's after 6,000 in spend in the first 4 months. Previous versions of this offer often had 15,000 spend in the first 12 months. They give you a little bit more time, but this has the lower spend threshold, and you can check to see if you're targeted. 75K is great, no annual fee. You earn 2x membership rewards everywhere on up to 50,000 in spend per year.
Yeah, and this is a card that everybody likes to get because their membership rewards, they can keep them long term without having a fee. Can kind of be a card that you just have in there to keep everything active as you open and close other cards. And the weird thing about this is it's better than you can get on the public offer. Normally, you don't want to sign up for a no lifetime language offer. Often you can get a better deal if you've never had the card before, just going through a member referral or directly, or their limited time offers, their Resi offers, stuff like that. But this is the one that the no lifetime language offer is always the best. You do need to log in to see if you're targeted. So you have to have an Amex login to do that. And you likely have to have a business card of some sort from American Express membership rewards, earning business card to have a shot at this. Like if you have a business platinum or a business gold, then you have a better shot of being targeted for this. But you log in, and then when it goes to the application, if it says this is no longer available, it means you weren't targeted. But yeah, definitely worth checking to see. And if you have it, jump on it, figure out a way to do the spend because it's one of the better offers out there.
Yeah, hard to get that many points, no annual fee, plus the earning on that card is great. So certainly worth checking it out. Another sort of quirk with Amex and other banks is 1099s. A lot of people might not expect to receive 1099s this time of year for points or for referrals, sometimes bank bonuses. You'll get them for that as well, or all the time bank bonuses. But I guess, if you're new to the game, you might not be expecting it. And then that 1099 shows up in your mailbox and you get a little freaked out about it.
Yeah, especially, with how easy American Express makes it, and you can do up to 100,000 points. They value those at 1 cent. So you'll get a $1,000 1099, which freaks people out. Yeah, it stinks that you got to pay taxes on it, but at least they're doing it at 1 cent a point. Some people try to negotiate with their tax professional that, the cash value is only 0.6 of a cent. You can talk to them about that. But at 1 cent, if you're using it, transferring it for travel, you're getting 1.5 to 2 cents probably on average. So you're paying 10% taxes instead of 20%. If that's your tax bracket, it could be cut as much as in half. So those are things, it's just worth it. Like, would you give up a couple $100 to get 100,000 points? Heck yeah, you'd buy that deal every day. So don't stress about it. Just know it's coming. The difference between this and a regular welcome offer or spend is that's a rebate on spend. So that's not taxable per IRS. These referrals are not from spend. So that's why you can get a 1099.
And same thing with the bank bonuses. It's not a rebate. So it's essentially interest income that you get with it. So yeah, that's exactly the difference. And that's why you get them. So now you know, and don't freak out, and talk to your tax professional, like Mark said, because that is the best move. And not listening to guys on YouTube.
Yes.
So one of our favorite things to talk about is Hilton timeshare offers, and they're back with a new one from $249 to $299, and you can purchase this, and then you have 12 months to use it. $249 for like a 3-night stay in Vegas or Orlando, They also have Gatlinburg, Hilton Head for 4 night stays, $299 plus tax. You get 75,000 Hilton points. And of course, you have to do the 2 hour timeshare presentation. Sometimes you can call in and negotiate a better deal than this as well. But on the surface, it's a pretty good deal if you're willing to sit through the presentation.
Yeah, some people in the top Facebook group said that they were offered 45K on top of it to book it sooner, like once they bought it. And another one said they called in and said, hey, I want to match the 150K offer you guys had like a year or two ago, and they were willing to do that. So there's no guarantees, but it might be worth, instead of just clicking some things online, call in and say, I want you to do better, see what they'll do. Sometimes they'll just give you a bigger room, things like that. And just remember to set a timer when you go into the meeting, 2 hours. Once the ding goes off, say, hey, it's been 2 hours. I fulfilled my thing. I'm not interested. I need to go.
And hopefully you have enough resistance and willpower not to buy something, because that's why they want to get you there. I'm assuming most people watching this show would be in that condition. I do wonder, like, everybody knows about timeshares at this point and knows what the pitfalls are of them and some of the, issues people have with them and resale value and all of that stuff. Yet people still buy them. So it's very confusing to me as someone who, DVC is one thing and that has done well for some people. And there's a sort of a niche market for that. But in general, it's probably not the best deal. And certainly for people taking advantage of miles and points who find other ways to offset their charges, you have maintenance fees. Just do your research. I mean, I know that people watching this probably aren't buying timeshares, but I want to put that out there because it's generally not a great deal.
Yeah, I think it's targeted at people that don't budget well and, don't save up for vacation. And this is like a thing like, hey, I make my car payment, I make my timeshare payment, and then I know every year I have a guaranteed vacation, 2 week vacation, whatever it be. It's meant for those people that either, one, don't save for the vacation, know they won't, or don't take the vacation. And if they've already paid for it, then they'll be like, you know what, we got to do this. We already paid for it. So it's kind of, preying on those people that aren't great at planning, I guess.
And Hilton Grand Vacations does have some very nice properties around the world. And I really like some of their properties. And I've stayed in a couple of Grand Vacations over the years and thought that they were decent. So as far as timeshares go, I think it's good. But yeah, just be cautious with that. And it's just like with anything else. If you're playing the game right, you can take advantage of this stuff, come out ahead. And like we said before, just take Mark's trick and say you're a travel blogger. They'll let you out sooner, maybe or maybe not.
15 minutes.
And the pains of being a travel blogger, writing about and booking trips. And you wrote about some fun you had with Alaska Airlines trying to book American Airlines space and Phantom award availability. And I went through the whole roller coaster ride with you. And it seems like you were ready to like recreate that meme of like smashing your computer with the keyboard.
Yeah. I was like the panda dressed up, just breaking it. But no, and this seems to be a widespread area, at least the last few months, maybe more than that. But Alaska's having a disconnect with their partners. They say that it's, on the end, it's just not updating quick enough and that space is gone. I don't know if I believe that, because one instance was I was trying to get home from Cancun. I found, an award that was bookable. It kept getting the error when I went to the payment screen and clicked pay now. And then a couple days later, it went through. So I doubt that space was gone. I mean, it could have been gone and then it comes back. I don't know. We've talked about on the long form MTM travel show, planning the trip to London and Paris with my extended family. And I was booking, the last flights I had to do was my sister's family, trying to book Dayton to London. Came up as 22.5K per person. Great price. I was ready to do it. It was on AA, got through everything, got the error. Well, they were showing like 7 different options that I could have booked, different routing, different times, all that stuff. I tried them all. None of them worked. I go to American Airlines. They don't have an award chart, so it's hard to tell, but a lot of those flights were 19K for the same booking, which I assume is their saver. So I think there was an error there. I went from Paris back, their other flight that I needed to book, and that one went through fine. I was kind of shocked there. That wasn't a problem. Still, after a couple of days, could never get the other one to go through. It's just frustrating. You don't know if that's going to be a problem when you transfer. Let's say you're transferring membership rewards to Hawaiian to Alaska to book this stuff. Then you're stuck with those miles. A couple tricks. You can call Alaska and see if they can see it on their end as bookable. If not, then you're not going to be able to do it. I did call in to try to book it. They said, if you're getting that error, we're going to get the same thing or not see it. Some people say if you do flexible date search, you get the old calendar, which is supposed to be more accurate. I don't know if that's the case. And then you can search the individual routing, to see if a saver award pops up for each leg of that booking. But it is kind of interesting. Have you ever noticed that Alaska will charge cheaper if there's a connection sometimes?
I've heard that. I haven't really noticed it myself. It's not like I'm booking a ton with Alaska, but I have heard that from other people.
Yeah, so I noticed like when I did this to check, when I just did like Charlotte to London, it was 27.5K. But if I added the Dayton to it, to Charlotte to London, it was 22.5. Same thing coming back. Their Paris to Philly was 27.5, but adding the connection to Dayton was 22.5. So if you're looking at this, it's weird. My parents had a connection; theirs was still 27.5, so I ended up booking with AA miles because it was cheaper. But that's just kind of, the weirdness of Alaska, I guess.
I think AA does this as well too. So that's what I was wondering. But you're saying you looked at the AA price and it was lower, because I know that'll often happen with AA depending on your starting city, and a lot of times, especially if you're looking at the direct flights from their hubs, nonstop and stuff, they'll charge a lot more mileage that way. So I guess it maybe plays into that a little bit. But I guess the moral of the story is hopefully Alaska fixes this, and it's not okay for them to just say our tech doesn't work right. This is too many issues, and you have to be able to rely on that, like you say, transferring miles over. And there's really no way to know if it's going to work or not until you click the buy now button, which is crazy. And so, yeah, this should be fixed. Hopefully, they really are going to try that instead of having their agents just say, oh, it's broken, and it's going to be broken for us too.
Yeah, and we heard, comments on the article were that it's an issue with other partners too. It's not just an AA thing either. So it's definitely an Alaska system problem.
And now for some cool reversible seats on trains, Mark. Explain this one to me.
Yeah, I mean, this has been around in Japan for a while. I've never been on a Japan bullet train or just the regular train, but I still think it's cool to highlight, and something that you've probably experienced. And the one I like better than the other. Like on the bullet train, you push down your foot on it and it rotates, and they say it's so you're going the same way as the train. Maybe makes you less sick or whatever. I like it because a lot of the trains you're stuck facing each other and you could be sitting with random strangers. How cool would it be if you could just turn it around and face the other way and not have somebody? That also requires the other one to be facing the proper way and stuff. You can do that with your foot. The other one, you just hold the handle and push it to the other side. It seems so simple. Why don't we have this everywhere?
There are streetcars dating back to the early 1900s that have that sort of bench overlay thing where you can go back and forth. I'm only saying it because you're right. I mean, it's a thing that's been around a long time, but we don't really have that on a lot of our transport here, even though it's not anything crazy. And it is neat to see the the seats rotate, like with the pedal and stuff. And I think it's for the Japanese people when they get stuck next to tourists that they can just rotate their seats so they don't have to look at us straight in the eyes.
Probably. I mean, the downside is there's no table, which you get on, other trains and stuff, and maybe you don't have the power outlets and everything. But I just thought, especially the one on like a local train where you can just move it back and forth, I think that would be nice to have in the US. But as somebody said in some of the comments, we don't even get the train part right. So I don't think we need to worry about the seats.
And just to point out, the Shinkansen, the bullet trains in Japan, are a pretty amazing experience. If you get the rail pass, you can ride them a lot. The prices are not cheap, but even like a lot of people do just a one way from like Tokyo to Osaka, if they're doing both of those areas on a trip. They're on time, they're super fast, they're very comfortable. You can bring food on board, bento boxes, stuff like that to eat. Just a great experience. Everything you would expect from modern bullet trains, fast, on time. The on time thing is something to emphasize because we're not always used to that. But if a train says it's leaving at a time in Japan, it's going to leave at a time. Very rarely is anything ever late. And that makes it great to do that. And then another tip for taking trains in Japan, Google Maps is amazing now because it has all of the platforms. Apple Maps is pretty good, but I think Google Maps is better in Japan. But first time I went there, there's multiple subway systems and train systems in these stations. Tokyo Station, for anybody who's ever been, is the largest train station in the world. I think it's insane. Now Google Maps will tell you the exact platform, the exact place to go, all the train times. Even if you're taking the subway, it'll say the next train's in 2 minutes and 4 minutes and 6 minutes. It's taken all the work out of trying to figure that out, making it easier than ever. So ride the trains when you're in Japan. You definitely should. And it is some cool S.
It can't be understated how important that is with the Google stuff, because train stations are the most confusing thing in the world to me. Platforms, sometimes the train's on this platform, sometimes it's on that platform. They'll even tell you if you ask which platform's that train, they'll tell you one, and today it's on the other one. It's not the best system in a lot of places. So it does help when you download these apps, even if it's not the Google app. Sometimes the train app where you're buying tickets will tell you the platform and all that stuff. So definitely use the technology when possible.
So let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. The Shinkansen trains, have you ridden them? What are your best tips for trains in Japan? The credit card offers, Blue Business Plus, the Marriott, are you going for that? Everything else we discussed on this show, timeshare presentations, what are your tips for that? Leave a comment. We do 2 shows a week. I talked about my Hawaii adventures on Monday's MTM Travel Podcast. Make sure to check that out on the channel. And we'll be back in a few days with another show. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good week, everybody. How much would you pay to stay in between 2 highways on Airbnb?
Said 60,000 points plus a free night certificate after spending 20,000 in the first 3 months. That's a 50K certificate as well.
2,000.
I said 3,000? Okay.
You said 20.
What? Yeah. Oh my God.